maybe I'm a St. Louis-based employer, and my employees happen to live in St. Louis proper or West County, St. Louis. So they're all residents of Missouri. But as I grow and I have to tap into a larger talent pool, I have some folks from across the Mississippi over on the Illinois side. They come working for me. Um, I might not even, or maybe one of my existing employees says, hey, I'm going to move out to the suburbs, and they move east, not west, and here they're in Edwardsville, Illinois. And I think none the wiser. What are the legal requirements of the employer for something as simple as a single employee in a different state?
Yeah, so that can be a pretty slippery slope. As soon as you move that individual and they are doing the majority of their work in that new jurisdiction, it could mean new registration requirements for you. So that means not just your payroll tax registration, which in many cases you can actually get without foreign qualifying and registering with the Secretary of State first, but it may also mean that you need that Secretary of State registration. Just because the Department of Revenue will grant you the tax IDs necessary to calculate the right payroll taxes, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to tell you, hey, by the way, that generally constitutes doing business. Therefore, you should have a Secretary of State registration in this location as well.
Is that something, Brock, that you guys see pretty common then, where I hire either one of my employees relocates to go out of state, but maybe it's the same metro area, they're just commuting, or I hire somebody new, so I'm like, okay, I know that there's a different income tax rate in state taxes, so I know I got to set that up, but they don't even think about what that may or may not trigger from entity registration, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we see that all the time. So I'm in Pennsylvania, and we have lots of clients locally here who know the difference between the regular state income tax, but also the difference between Philadelphia and the rest of the state. That one is usually stuck in folks' mind. I haven't run into too many people who were totally unaware of the Philadelphia tax rate. But for those that are commuting from across the river and doing the majority of their work in New Jersey instead, it may not have even dawned on them because their employer is located in Philadelphia and they're using that to calculate their rate for all sorts of different payroll tax purposes. And so that can be a real challenge. Even if they do update the payroll tax registration for New Jersey, so they have the new tax ID, that may also mean that they need to be foreign qualifying in New Jersey to do business and general purposes.
Yeah. Something that I think we're still going to see unfold, I'd say, for the next several years. You had so many employees that maybe they drive into an office, maybe they were flexible, right? And so stick with your Philly story there. So maybe they lived over in Cherry Hills on the New Jersey side. They drive into Philly every day, and their income tax is set up for New Jersey, all appropriate. But all of a sudden, COVID hits, and now they work from home. And so, instead of being a flexible employee who used to the occasional Friday afternoon work from home, or they would stay home on a day that they had a kid's dentist appointment or something, now they work from home every day, right? Maybe the office doesn't even exist, but they never changed any classifications, any entity registrations. Speak to how that is getting employers into trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. So those folks should really be updating their tax registrations and their Secretary of State registrations on the basis of having an employee on the ground, usually constituting doing business, right? And that's really what the states are looking for. So that could be another instance that harkens back to the example that we used earlier, how the state will take a look at, hey, when did they start operating here full time? That's what we use as the trigger date for when they should have been foreign qualified originally. And now I'm going to count up the days since that started, and I'm going to bill you for the amount of time that's passed. You're going to get a fine for not having been registered properly. And that can be a real challenge.
Yeah.